All right. And then is it like full screen or do I need to do like
Yeah, it's pretty much full screen. Yeah.
share mode? Okay. Well, there we go. All right. So yeah, thanks for being a part of this. It means a lot. Um, so yeah, we're gonna just go through the process of creating a minimum viable product together. And this first session is kind of just like a intro to what I'm planning to do, and then kind of talk about like the first step, which is just like having an idea to begin with. So, um, yeah, goal is to build an MVP. We'll each, kind of build our own together, and yeah, regardless of skill level, that's kind of my whole goal with like software development coaching is, the best way to learn is just by start building something and, you know, writing bad code and learning from it and then getting better for the next time. So, um, the kind of roadmap here, just to give you an idea, first session is just, why build projects, some common roadblocks, coming up with ideas. And then session two, we'll talk about like turning your idea into a problem statement and then how to do like a competitive analysis to like further narrow down your problem and like the scope of what you're going to build. Session three, talk about requirements, user stories, getting into UI mocks, just further like refining your idea, figuring out what you're going to build. Session four, project infrastructure, code scaffolding, just like getting all the stuff set up, not really related to the project itself, but getting everything in place so then when you're ready to like build the functionality, um, yeah, you're all set to go. So this would involve like having everything done so that it's deployed with like a Hello World type of app. And then the last step is building the MVP. So actually like whatever you came up with for your user stories and your requirements, going and coding that, whatever technology stack you use. Um, so for today, I want to just do some like introductions, why we're here, and then talk about why to build a project, navigating common roadblocks and limitations, like once you start getting into it, deciding on a good project idea, and then just some open discussion at the end. Um, so I want to go through just, there's three of us here, but this is kind of how I start all of my mentorship sessions is asking these questions. And it's important because this is kind of like the basis for, how you can come up with an idea or, kind of figuring out where you are now and where you want to be and how do you get there. Um, so uh, just to start, well, yeah, I'll go first and then we'll go to Melvin and then Jay. So who am I? My name is Joey. I've been doing software development for 11 years. I am becoming an entrepreneur, I guess you could say. So I'm getting out of working for companies and trying to, build startups and like run software development coaching. Uh, and I'm in Ohio right now. I got into tech and software development as a kid. I was just playing computer games. I was pretty much raised by a computer. Um, my parents were busy doing lots of things, so I was just on the computer all the time. Felt like a good thing to get into, so I went to school for software development, and just that's how I got into it. My interests, hobbies are lately around, I like to do a lot of cooking. I spend a lot of time with my daughter, um, figuring out how to be a better dad, and uh, doing this. This I would say is a hobby of mine, like helping people build projects. Um, top strength would be, I guess, patience. I'm very patient. I've had to be patient with my daughter, just with uh, a lot of dealing with like toxic things in the tech industry. You got to learn to be patient with all that. My weaknesses are speaking up and like, uh, just being more vocal. So that's kind of why I've been diving into a lot of this stuff lately, sharing thoughts on LinkedIn, doing more writing, doing more things like this. Um, Parts of tech they're most interesting to me. I've always liked doing front end and kind of like user experience, like where humanity and technology like meet. So building like ethical technology is really interesting to me. Um, Top strengths, tech related, are like debugging. I really like solving production issues and like diving into them. And yeah, I really like that. Um, Tech related weaknesses, I'd say, are uh, like UI type work. So like I'm a front end developer, but I don't like doing responsive design and all these different things. I like the functionality aspect of it rather than like the design aspect. And what would you like to get out of this program? Well, yeah, I'm running it, but what I would like to get out of it would be, learning how I can run this in a more scalable way and like start to maybe make a business out of it or help more people build things. So what I've learned a lot by talking to a lot of people in the past few months is a lot of people that went through boot camp or like earlier in their career to feel kind of lost and like don't really know or don't feel confident in their technology skills. And what I've found through the mentorship I've been doing is that when people build their own project, you learn so much and you gain so much confidence in that, and it really helps you kind of navigate your career. So yeah, uh, go Melvin. Do you want to go?
Yeah. So hey guys, my name is Melvin Torres. Um, I've been working at Amazon warehouses for like the past 5 years. And I'm really like ready for like a career change. So I want to think that I'm becoming, a software developer, web developer, whatever, anything that involves tech, you know what I mean? Because I really want to be in a career field where I can just, possibly work remote in the future, where I can just like, be anywhere in the world and still like make money. That's kind of like the whole reason why I started this. By the way, I'm from Central Florida. Um, and the reason why I got into tech really was after the birth of my daughter, right? It really made me think about, you know, life in general and where I want to be. And I just feel like being at a warehouse for the rest of my life isn't what I pictured for myself. So tech is, I feel like, is my way to obtain the life that I would want to live. Um, my interests, I'm really into music, like all types of music. Um, my top strength, I would say, um, I think I'm pretty a self-motivated person, and I really like talking to other people and motivating other people. Um, what are my weaknesses? I think talking in public is something I would really want to like get good at, and just being more um like much better in like the area of communication and really just putting myself out there. Um, Parts of working in tech that I'm most interested in. I would say front end, which is like a shock to me personally, because I never thought that I would be like wanting to design websites or anything like that, or just like design UI. Like anytime I would see like UI UX type like things, I would just be like, it just didn't really interest me. But I feel like the more I got into web development, um, because I just graduated from a boot camp, a full stack academy, where Joey's actually was my mentor there. Um, and really getting into that kind of showed me that I really like front end, and it's actually kind of fun. and but I also like the back end part of it as well. What are my top strengths tech related? I would also say like front end development. And where I want to grow tech related, I would say I would definitely want to get better at back end. Maybe like dabble in some like AI. And what I want to get out of this program, I would say, is just like working with other people. I feel like I'm more of like a, I've kind of done all my projects by myself, and I don't really like, I try to like reach out to people and try to make more, try to like collab with more people, but it hasn't worked as well in the past. But hopefully with this, that can change. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. All right, Jay.
Right. Okay. My turn. I think my name is Jay, and I'm from Taiwan, but I'm living in Melbourne at the moment. And who am I becoming? I think my background is about the design. Yeah, about the multimedia and the Master of Design degree, but I make many UX UI like prototyping, wireframing, and also improve the user experience, doing many research to improve the user experience. But I really want to create product, so I jump into the front-end coding first. Yeah, I try to become more proficiency about front-end developer. So currently I study very hard. Yeah, and why did I get into tech? Yeah, like I mentioned, because I really want to make a real application from the design to reality. Yeah, and my interest in like I like to play games and also dancing, also like hoodie, like a full hoodie. Is correct?
Wait, what is
Like
that?
hoodie, like the people who like to looking for eat food and also taste the
Oh,
Oh,
delicious
foodie.
foodie.
foodie, yeah,
Okay.
foodie, yeah.
Did you say dancing
So,
too?
yeah, it's like a salsa,
Oh, wow.
bachata. Yeah, I did before. Yeah,
Nice.
and I think my top strength is like motivation and curiosity. Why did I say that? Is because I really want to try something new and to adapt the traditional old way and try many new skills to input my current workflow and save the time as well. Yeah, and how about my weakness is I think due to my curiosity, so sometimes I try to learn too many things and not focus one thing. It's not good. So the results not coming out a good result. And the seven is how powerful working in tech. I think the front end mostly. So I can say in my future career, I would say 70% front end and 30% back end, which I'm learning now is because I think front end and the back end sometimes uh, they will be related to each other. And I just want to discover uh, how they come from and what's happening in the backend work. So that's why I learned about backend at the moment. Yeah. Okay. And the tech ready. Number A is I think the UI UX and also front end development will be my strength. Weakness is like backend, like a data structure, algorithm, the logic stuff. Yeah. And also database. Yeah. And the number 10 is get off this program is I think like I try to like because the English is my second language, and my pronunciation and communication, I think I need to improve as well. So I try to like join the conversation and communicating well, and also share my knowledge with other people and learn each other. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Thanks for going through that, guys. So yeah, why build a project? There's many reasons. So I get that question a lot when I work with people who think, uh, oh, I just need to build a project for my portfolio, but like, do I really even need that? Like, and there's more than just creating a project for your portfolio. So what a lot of people do, they think, okay, I need all these projects to put on my portfolio to get a job. And so they just start doing all these like tutorial projects and filling their GitHub with all these projects. And as a hiring manager, you look and see that, and just right away you can just tell, what's going on. These are just projects, tutorials. They're trying to create like a portfolio, but uh, so going beyond just like doing things just for your portfolio, yeah, that's one reason to build a project, right? But practicing technical skills. So what you get from building your own project versus a tutorial project is uh, like unique problems that you're gonna be facing that no one else has faced before because you're building something that is unique to you. No one else has built it. If you're building a tutorial, everyone's built it. You're gonna face kind of similar problems. Debugging it's gonna be a bit easier. Um, Navigating a large complex code base. Some of these smaller projects, you don't get too far in them. If you're building your own thing, yeah, you're going to start building something small, but if it's something you really enjoy and you're passionate about and you want to keep growing it, eventually you're going to build your own complex, large code base. And that's a skill that many junior engineers are lacking when they first start their job. I've heard it from a lot of people. They go through boot camp and they learn how to make these small things, but then you get in the job and you got a code base with tens of thousands of files, and each file's got hundreds and hundreds of lines of code in it. It's like, how do you work in a project like that? Um, so getting practice doing that. Obviously structuring your code and designing it, software architecture, and then learning new technologies. Soft skills, being able to communicate ideas. So like, everyone has ideas. I think you could ask anyone if they have an idea for like some software project and they'll have an answer for you. So how do you communicate that though? How do you write and document what you want to build? How do you manage a project so that you don't start building on it when it's fun and exciting, but then you hit your first roadblock and you give up? How do you manage your time so that uh, you're not maybe one day spending like 10 hours on it and hyper focused, and then you burn out and you don't touch it again for months. And then problem solving. Solving a problem for a person. So instead of just building something for the sake of building something, for the sake of showing what your skills are, reframe it, build something to solve a problem for yourself. Personal benefit, increased confidence. If you build something and complete it, it's going to feel good. You're going to feel confident. Long-term focus and commitment, a unique, personally beneficial product. You're going to learn more about yourself through building something for yourself. And you're going to reignite your passion for coding. So, another thing a lot of people face when they start their first job or they get into the industry, you start to lose your passion for coding because you're just doing it for work and it becomes a chore. And so by building something for yourself that's fun and exciting, reignite that passion, kind of learn new things. And then professional development. So obviously we talked about portfolio, talking points in an interview, maybe finding your career niche. So like maybe like Melvin, you said you're really into music, so maybe you build something related to music, and then you can find a job in the music industry doing tech. Not always the case, but hey, Roar.
Hello, sorry if I'm a little late.
No problem. Uh, so yeah, just going through kind of why building the project, but we did some intros. I'll swing back around to get you in there too.
Okay.
Um, and then yeah, potential to expand your project in the future. So maybe after you build it, it solves a problem for you. Maybe you want to figure out and try to like sell it or something. And then learning software development life cycle. So the whole end-to-end thing. Maybe by building your own project, you're going to figure out you actually like being a designer rather than being a developer. So then you can start looking for design roles, or maybe you really liked the project management side of it. You can go find a project manager role or like a product owner role. So yeah, all the added benefits of building your own project versus learning in other ways. So recently I went on Reddit and I asked this question and then didn't expect to get as many answers as I did, but it kind of blew up. So wanted to share some of the answers I got here. I just asked, what is holding you back from building your own product? And then I added just a disclaimer, like for someone who wants to build a project, but hasn't for some reason. And the number one thing that I saw was not having an idea. So like I got this answer a lot. I don't have any ideas, having a worthy idea. I don't have an idea what to build. Some of the other responses were like anxiety, maybe afraid of failure, feeling like you don't have the skills. I'm incompetent, naive, complacent, I procrastinate. It's a lot of like mindset things that, if you can work on that and just start building something, you can get over those mindset issues. And then that, goes into your career development and interviewing. You start interviewing with confidence rather than with a mindset of, oh, I don't have the skills. And then, um, yeah, just plenty. Here's the other kind of answers I got. So like lack of time, laziness, no motivation, lack of money, imposter syndrome, lack of technical skills, lack of focus, already too many products. So that was another one. It's like there's so many products out there. Why build another thing? Like someone's already built my idea. What's the point?
Yeah, that's how
Um,
I feel about that.
yeah, that's a big one. So yeah, that's one that, if I were to cover that, I would say, yeah, there's products out there that solve your idea, but do they solve it in the most like ideal way for you as a unique individual? And the answer is probably not. There's some reason or another that it's not the best product out there for you. Maybe it's a product that's perfect, but it's too expensive. So maybe you want to build it yourself so that, you don't have to pay for it. Maybe it, uh, like there's too many features and you only need a subset of features and it's too complicated and you just want to like streamlined experience. So in my case, the first kind of real side project I built that I actually use was a journaling project. And the reason I decided to build it, even though there's tons of note taking and journaling apps out there, like you can search for it, there's hundreds. Um, but what was missing from a lot of them was like usability. And what was missing from like things like Notion or Google Docs or some of these like more general note taking apps is that there's too many features and it distracted me from what I wanted to do, which was just write. I just wanted to write distraction free. So I made my own app that solved my unique problem and got a lot of value out of it. Exhaustion from work, idea too big. So yeah, looking at these, are there any that like stick out? Melvin, you said like too many products out there, but
Mhm.
are there any other of these that kind of stick out? Aurora or Jay?
I guess recently it's exhaustion from work mostly.
Okay. Yeah, so for that one, well, yeah, do you feel like sharing any more about that? Because that's a big problem that I know a lot of people have. I've had myself. You don't have to, but
Yeah. Recently I feel like I want to get into some kind of projects personally outside of work, but it's really difficult when you kind of work 9 to 5 and even, in this type of profession, I've noticed that it's almost never nine to five, but it's like 9 to 6 or 9 to 7 sometimes. So I would really like to, but it's kind of difficult to do that.
okay. So I guess my first question, like because I've been there, but then I sometimes look at, okay, I'm working 9 to 6, 9 to 7, but is the entire time like filled with work, or are there like periods of downtime throughout that? Um, so what I found when I was at Amazon was, yeah, I was super exhausted from work, but a big part of my burnout and exhaustion at Amazon was not the work itself. It was like the politics of the company, or like meetings that were unnecessary, and I would get frustrated. I'm like, I'm joining all these meetings and they're pointless. I'm not even talking. I'm not getting any value out of it. So what I did was, like, I would join meetings, but then start just building my project during the meetings and just kind of listen for my name and like uh might not always be the best advice, but there are like ways to get around that exhaustion from work blocker. So like happy to talk more about that, but um
Yeah, I would also like to mention something like I feel like some people might also be afraid of like chopping things up into little pieces, right? Sometimes like even for myself, I would want to like just get a huge portion of my project done at once, and I feel like I'd feel better at that, you know. But I feel like there's some times where you have to just like kind of break little things up, little problems, and then just work on that for like 10, 15 minutes a day. You know what I mean? And it's like you're not getting as much done as you would want, but at least you're still like, consistently, coding.
yeah,
So,
that's a
yeah.
big thing I run into lately, even this morning, right?
Mm.
Like I woke up early. It was, I don't know, like 7 in the morning. I knew my daughter was going to wake up at some point soon, and I would have to get her ready and get her lunch ready, take her to school and all that. So I'm like, well, I don't feel like getting started on anything. I'm just going to sit and wait. And I do this all the time. I do it almost every day. And I just sit and like drink coffee and just wait for her to wake up. And then this morning, actually, I was like, I'm just gonna start working on stuff, and maybe I'll only get 10 minutes out of it, but it's 10 extra minutes that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
Mhm.
And I actually got a lot done in those 10 minutes. So like, yeah, I think that's a big thing, like having like some small little things of work kind of ready to go when you have random downtime. Yeah, can be super
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah, it just depends on like who you are. There's some people who might not like that because then they'll come back to it and they'll be like, "Where was I? I'm confused. Like I don't even know what I was trying to do." Or but to kind of like combat that, sometimes I'll even like maybe leave myself a note, like a little like like in my notes, like where I left off, so I'm not like completely lost.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
Mhm.
I especially like when you're in the code, right? And you like something happens, you got to leave, like just writing a quick comment wherever you are in the
Mhm.
code of like where your thought process was at that moment. So that when you get
Right.
back into it, you read that thought process and you're right back into it, versus like sometimes it takes like 30 minutes to an hour to like ramp up on something. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, anything, yeah, Jay, anything resonating with you?
I think uh, I would say, mm, I'm not sure how can I say this word. It's called imposter syndrome.
Hmm.
This one.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm not quite sure this one exactly meaning. So maybe I try to make my portfolio, my project perfect. Yeah, but
Hmm.
or maybe implement some functionality. I try to achieve the good functionality or learn something a lot, but I feel really tired, and eventually I feel really pressure. I cannot do it. Is this explanation is correct? I'm not sure.
Oh, is that
Like,
like what
yeah,
imposter syndrome is?
yeah. This one is like I set my goal too high, but I feel really tired
Yeah,
because I want to make some people happy, or maybe let's say maybe recruiter, or maybe say other people they see my projects. Yeah, but
yeah,
I made me really tired. Yeah,
yeah. I think that's part of imposter syndrome. It sounds maybe a little more like perfectionism, just like trying to make it perfect. Um,
yes, yeah,
yeah, imposter syndrome also has that added like I'm not good enough, right? Like that thought
yeah,
is just like in your head, like, oh, I'm not writing perfect code. I'm not someone else would do this better than I am. Like
yes,
that sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. And that's a big thing with like just getting started, just start writing code and like it's can be ugly code. And what you'll find, especially if you're building it for a portfolio, like no one's gonna actually look at the code that you're writing. So like you're better off building something that, you know, visually looks better than like the code looking perfect. And what you'll learn by writing bad code is the pains of dealing with bad code. And then you figure out, okay, how is a better way to do this? Maybe you refactor it. So then the next time you write better code, but you can't write better code without writing bad code first. That's just
yeah,
the nature of
yeah,
it. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, these are just, you know, some things that I got tons of answers. Everyone's dealing with these same things. So that's kind of where you need to start before you even get into a project. It's like, okay, figuring out what are my limitations and having like tools in place, either mental tools or physical tools to, you know, prevent yourself from getting blocked by them. Um, and so this is the last slide, but it's about how do you like come up with a project idea that, you know, is worth starting to build? Because I'm sure if you're like me, you have like a bunch of ideas and you're probably having a new idea every single day. And it's like, okay, I'm just gonna hop on the next idea because this one seems more fun than the one I'm already working on. And then you just start like you have like 5 or 6 projects that you've started on and then they don't get finished. And then you start to be like, okay, what am I doing? So um my I guess way of dealing with this, and everyone's gonna have their own way of dealing with this, but it's kind of what has worked for me is like, you know, getting into a journaling habit. And whenever you have an idea that like feels like, oh, this is something I really want to work on, it's like find your journal and write it down and then just keep going on with your day. So like if you're already building something and you have an idea, even if you're building something and you have an idea for what you're building, maybe a new feature, right? Don't start building that feature, write it down, but then stick to what you're currently doing. Um, and then go back to it later. And what you'll find when you start writing and getting into a habit of writing and you start reading what you've written a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, you see the patterns and you see what's important to you. And then that's what you decide to invest your time into. Um, because you have this recurring thing that keeps popping up. It's like, okay, it's something I'm telling myself I need to do this. Um, so yeah, if you struggle with, you know, doing too many things or trying too many things, I would, you know, really recommend building a habit out of that. Um, and then, yeah, the questions that I asked on the first slide, right, with the introductions, what are your hobbies? What are your interests? You know, that's kind of the starting point of like, what do I want to get out of building something so that you build something that you get that out of it, you get to where you want to be. You're moving in that direction. So we'll just hop back really quickly now that you're Aurora. So you didn't get to hear Melvin, me, and Jay, but at least, want you to go through and kind of answer these questions.
Yeah, sure. So do I have to read them out loud or
No, just kind
so?
of go through it. I'm
Okay.
taking notes here. I'll kind of put it all together in
Okay.
something after the meeting.
Okay, so my name is Aurora, and who am I becoming? Is it more on the personal aspect of things or job-wise?
Whatever comes up to you.
Okay. So I hope, I think, or well, I am a developer right now because thanks to Joey as well, I've been hired, and I hope to become better at my job and to kind of, I don't know, I guess I just want to learn more about coding. It's such a big world and I feel so small. So this is what I hope to become. And where are you calling from? Calling in from? You mean like the place I'm calling in from?
Yeah, just like where you're from.
I'm from Italy and I'm calling from Italy right now. So I'm not in the States right now. And I work here in Italy. And why did you get into software development? So I got into it because well, I'm kind of a nerd, I guess you can say. So mostly it was because I was really passionate about video games and those kind of things. So I think I started with creating a little game for myself with this. I don't remember, I can't remember it wasn't Unity, it was, I think, it was this kind of software that was based on Python, I think. It helped you developing video games. So that was my first project. And my husband is a nerd as well. So I got into it much more thanks to him. So that's why I decided to go for software development. And I think it's really fun because you can create any idea you have, you can kind of create it and put it out there. And I think that's really cool about software development. And I just like technology in general. I think technology is really cool. So I want to be a part of it. And what are your interests and hobbies? I guess I already told some. So yeah, I like um video games and I like uh I don't know if that's an interest or a hobby, but I like food. I like eating out, so and I'm kind of passionate, I think, about Asian cuisine. I really like it. So and yeah, I like coding as well, I guess could be considered a hobby of mine as well. And music or like going for walks. I guess I do have different hobbies and interests. And so my top strength, so I think um I guess empathy. And I feel like I really want to help other people. And I'm kind of um sensitive, I guess, to things, and that could be considered, I hope, a good thing. And I try to use that at my job as well when I can. And my weakness, I guess it's the same thing. So, oh, and maybe I do have some anxiety and I struggle with imposter syndrome as well, personally, especially recently. So, I guess that's my weakness. And the fact that I'm really sensitive, I guess, is one of my other weaknesses. And what parts of working in tech are most interesting to you? So I really like the front end part of things. I think it's really fun and creative. I like playing around with CSS, and I really like the frameworks on the front end part of things. It's not that I don't like the backend because I am working right now with Java, and I really find it interesting. I really like it. But I guess that it's really you can say hidden. So I feel like I really like visual things, and that's why I think I really like the front end part of developing applications more. So, um, okay, tech related, I guess. This is difficult. So I don't know. I can't really tell. I guess I may be a little bit stronger, like I said before, on the front end part of things, but it's really difficult to say because it's really um, there's so many things. It's really hard to say if I'm really uh, good or not at my job because it's really there's so many things out there, and there's some things that I do well, so some things that I don't do well, or maybe there's just some things that I just do it, they work, and that's great, but I didn't do it in the best way possible. Maybe I created some code that does work, but it's not really, efficient. So it's really hard to answer this one. And what are your weaknesses related? So yeah, I think that it's the same answer. I may create things that do work, especially right now with the backend part of things that I'm working on, since I'm not really used to this new language. And that's maybe the difficulty learning new languages and frameworks. Although I do have, my teammates really are really supportive, so they're really teaching me very well. But um, I guess that my weakness may be, for now, the backend part of things. And yeah, when I learn new frameworks and languages, that's the difficult part of things. And what would you like to get out of this program? So I wasn't here when there was the introduction. So, but I hope, I don't know, to just learn something. I know that um, Joey has a lot of experience, so uh, I'm still a junior developer, and I think that there's many things I need to learn. So just learning something new, some tips and tricks could be really useful for me right now.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So, yeah, that's yeah, that's it. So, um, I guess just to kind of, you missed the first part there, Aurora, but this is kind of the plan for, um, you know, kind of this program. It's kind of a trial run of like a coaching program I plan to like expand on, but we'll be all kind of building a project individually together. That's kind of the goal here. So kind of going through the whole process and then ultimately building it. So yeah, that being said, that's kind of all I had for this first session. The last kind of bit, I just wanted to kind of answer questions if you have any, but also I had a few questions for you guys, wanted to kind of get some feedback on kind of what would be the best way to make the most of this. Because I'm learning too here. So I guess like what are, if anything, are some kind of things you guys would like want to learn in a program like this?
Um,
Could be anything specific or general, anything.
I don't know. It's like I'm not even sure what question I want to ask, but because it's just